Rising game costs. Reportedly, Xbox is also going to be raising its game prices later this year. Now, this is interesting because they announced it and now people are aware. So, how are we going to do this? Number one, this is on Xbox, right? This is on Xbox. They've basically now decided that they're going to join the anti competitive or anti consumer train on the pricing of games. You see, with one hand, they'll offer you pro competitive and pro consumer stuff, and another hand, they can take it away very fast. So, this is where I say consumers and customers have to be very watchful with these companies. And like I said, as much as we've talked about Game Pass being pro consumer, this pricing is actually absolute trash. In a statement to IGN, Microsoft said, "We understand that these changes are challenging and they were made with careful consideration given market conditions and the rising cost of development. Looking ahead, we continue to focus on offering more ways to play more games across any screen and ensuring the value for Xbox players." Ladies and gentlemen, this is a tactic to also push Game Pass. This company now realizes how important Game Pass is. I played the math equation for you guys out, remember? I told Joel, I said, even if they launch all these first-party games into Game Pass, let's remove Call of Duty from it because Call of Duty always makes its money back, right? Let's just call it a whole different thing. And it goes into Game Pass as well, so probably helps to even increase number of subscribers. Even though they launch everything into Game Pass, just the amount of subscribers of Game Pass at 34 million is already paying for all the development costs of those games and also paying for all of the acquisitions in terms of third-party games that go into Game Pass. Game Pass is profitable just by running a subscription service that obliterates and eliminates the need to actually sell games. So they're looking at it and saying Nintendo is raising their prices, and I've said this before and I'm going on record to say it, there is no game that's worth $80. I don't care if it's your childlike or childhood game. What the heck are you paying $80 for something that you don't need to live? If you have the money, hey, by all means, hey, I apologize. I don't want to sound like, I'm telling you what to do with your money. But the heck with the value of that nonsense of Nintendo games that are basically very low budget and then asking for $80 to play those games. Even these guys spending $200 million are not justified to ask for $80 at any point in time. So I'm sorry, man. I'm not even sorry. I can't give Nintendo that, but they've come out swinging. And so everybody else is looking and saying Nintendo's wanting to get away with that when we're getting value. So these guys are going to sit here and not basically to be the market punching bag. Xbox has always had value. It's just that, the press and the media failed to see it. They failed to see it and they failed to recognize and they failed to hold accountable those like Nintendo and PlayStation while they were jumping into anti-consumer practices and skipping their way through it and making money. So now that Xbox has found itself in a place where they don't even need a console to make money, they don't even need individual unit game sales to make money, do you know what that does? That puts them in a juggernaut position and they now realize and understand exactly where they are in the market. This is how they beat PlayStation and Nintendo in the whole business. Let Nintendo continue with what they're doing and then see how it works out for them. While Xbox can deliver games anywhere you are and is now the biggest publisher on PlayStation and gunning to be the biggest publisher if possible on Nintendo. Can you imagine that? Think about this. Nintendo will sell its best-selling game over the course of many years. It will be one that gamers pick, right? Think about this. It will be one of the games that gamers pick. It could be Mario Kart, World, or whatever it is. But if Xbox dares bring Call of Duty to that platform, it'll constantly outpace Mario Kart annually in terms of its overall sales, because it's not only going to be selling on the Switch, it'll be selling everywhere else. So that's a very interesting position at the end of the day. We'll wait and see, though. Let me go ahead and read some of what I think is this article saying. There's the IGN report, which says Microsoft raises the price of all Xbox Series consoles, and Xbox games confirmed to hit $80 this holiday. In an announcement today, the company said it will be raising prices on Xbox consoles, controllers, headsets, and some games. The price hike for consoles and accessories kick in today, May 1st. And while game prices will stay the same for now, we should expect to see Xbox charging $79.99 for new first-party games around the holiday season. Price increases are taking effect globally with the exception of headsets prices, which are going up in US and Canada. So check this out. They're raising the Xbox Series X from $299 to $379, the Series S 1 terabyte from $349 to $429, and the Xbox Series X digital to $549 from $499, and the Xbox Series X $599. Goodness gracious. Xbox Series X, 2 terabyte Galaxy Edition, $729. Oh, yes. The $729 console. Y'all should have built a gaming PC. Don't come here and I don't want to see. I don't want to see you say, oh, no. You were told. Xbox wireless controller, $64.99. Are people really gonna tell me that this is a cost, beneficial way to actually game? Are people really gonna tell me this? I'm sorry, but this is insane. This is insane. These Xbox controllers all went up because PlayStation was selling its controllers and everybody else is selling their accessories for all this money. This is why you renegade your way out of the hardware ecosystem that is managed by these companies. I'm telling you guys, as much as they may have a lead strategy, they always have that lag strategy to also try to make more money. They're talking about it from this perspective, and I criticize PlayStation for this. And Xbox, you need to get dragged in the mud. Basically saying something like, oh, because of economic reasons and the market, are we not also being affected by the market? Y'all will see me at CD Keys, man. When your game has now become $5.99, I may still consider it at $2.99. That's probably what we're going to go for. This continues to reinforce. And yes, they've been losing money on their consoles. I get it. But it reinforces this notion where PC gamers spend 92% of their time playing older games. They're cheap. They are cheap. Why? The market is saturated. Xbox now has a way to bypass the market saturation, so it's fine. Games are cheap on PC. When they're old, on consoles they get cheap too, but they get cheaper on PC because, man, they're begging for your money. Thank God for developers constantly punching out games. I know y'all were saying that some of these games that are coming out on Steam, where most of them are shovelware, blah, 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 blah. But you got to remember something. You might think it's shovelware, but people are actually buying and playing and patronizing these games. 6,276 games on Steam. Come on, guys. What are we waiting for? Let's do 22,000 this year. Let's do it. Because this is the only thing that's going to control the market. Because the market works in a situation where there are new entrants. Oh, let's jump into economics. My goodness. Thank God for common sense and economics. This is what's going to keep the gaming industry grounded. It's not fanboyism. What's going to go ahead and keep the gaming industry grounded is economics. A lot of people basically lose their minds forgetting about economics as a reality, and now we need to talk about it. Michael Porter, in his book on competition, writes that competition and strategy and core concepts requires that one of the market factors that actually brings competition is new entrants. Not only new entrants, but the threat of substitute products and services. Thank God that there's a substitute to gaming on console. Console gamers, if you ever think about PC, now if you want to stay on console, hey, thumbs up. I'm not talking to you. But if you're thinking about moving to PC, the time is ripe. Don't worry about these prices that they're looking at. Forget it. It's time for you to dig into the market. There are opportunities because it's decentralized. Super decentralized. AMD is running the whole console market. They're literally running the entire console market. NVIDIA, on the other hand, is basically engaging in AI and losing its mind out there. But the beauty of it is they've already spilled a lot of very valuable hardware into the market. Let me show you the Nexus, right? Or the Nexi right here. Let me go ahead and break this thing down because I think a lot of people are just running crazy. You see all these brand new games and old games that are coming out. What is the latest game that just came out? Let's go ahead and look at this. New releases. Let's look at the most recent games that have just shown up on the market, right? What I want to do is I want to show you that this stuff about, you can't get a console that can play like the PlayStation, whatever, blah, 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 is absolute horse dung. The most recent games on the market don't require the biggest of hardware. Do you hear what I said? Not saying you should go buy a GTX 1060. But all the fear mongering like, oh, you're not going to need this, you're going to need that and all that. You just got to ignore them and look at the developers and what they're making their games to run on, which should tell you exactly where your budget needs to be looking at. Let's look at another recent game that just came out on the market. Yes, this is a turn-based game. I get it. I get it. I get it. Let's look at the Oblivion game, the Oblivion remaster. Okay? Its requirements in terms of what it wants you to play on is also an RX 5700 or a 1070 Ti. That's the minimum requirements to be able to play the game. The game is not running smooth, but again, that's Unreal Engine developers probably needing to work on their game. But there's also another game that's a first-person game, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, that just came out that is running smooth on a GTX 1060. What this tells you is you don't need to go out in the PC market and go buy heavy, expensive texture rendering PCs. You can get in with a very decent price while these console manufacturers try to make their way to $1,000 consoles. They're already there. With the PlayStation edition of that PS5 Pro wanting to sell you $1,000 in the console. PS5 Pro is still a massive scam, by the way. I'm not changing that position of mine because we know that it is. Hey, I mean, sound bias towards PC or whatever it is, but I'm looking at what the market is doing and I'm saying to myself, why should anybody bother in this particular ecosystem or ecosystems when you, the buyer, you have the bargaining power? You have substitute products and you have new entrants into the market. Let these companies fight over it. You sit down and enjoy the benefits. Yeah, that's what you do as a gamer, in my opinion. Thanks for watching. Peace out.